The sister who borrowed my wedding dress without asking, to my parents' delight, and ruined it. I pretended to be heartbroken, but little did they know what her true gift had been. I'm Alice, and I've spent 28 years being the other daughter. The one who's practical instead of vivacious, who's reliable instead of exceptional. Tonight, at Nora's engagement party, I'm watching it all play out again like a movie I've seen 1,000 times. "Oh, darling, you look absolutely radiant," Mom gushes, adjusting Nora's perfectly styled hair. "Ashton is such a catch. I knew the moment I met him that he was the one for you." I take another sip of champagne, trying not to remember how she barely acknowledged my engagement to Nicholas 6 months ago. "He seems nice enough," was all she'd managed then. "Alice, honey, could you grab more appetizers from the kitchen?" Dad calls out, not even looking in my direction. Of course. Even at Nora's engagement party, I'm relegated to catering duty. "I'll help," Nicholas whispers, squeezing my hand. God, I love him for that. In the kitchen, I start arranging crackers and cheese on a platter, while Nicholas opens another bottle of wine. "You okay?" he asks, his voice soft with concern. "I'm fine. It's just," I pause, searching for words that won't make me sound like a jealous teenager. "Sometimes I wonder if they even see me at all." "Hey," he pulls me close, his chest warm against my cheek. "I see you. You're the most amazing person I know." A burst of laughter from the living room interrupts our moment. I peek around the corner to see Nora holding court, champagne glass in hand, telling some story about her perfect proposal. "And then," she sang, "Ashton got down on one knee right there in Central Park with the string quartet playing our song. It's like a fairy tale," Mom sighs, wiping away a tear. I remember Nicholas's proposal. Simple, sincere, and perfect in its own way. He'd cooked dinner at home, nervous and adorable, and asked me while we slow danced in our tiny living room. Mom's response? "At least you're finally settling down, Alice." Nora's voice cuts through my thoughts. "Where are those appetizers? Everyone's starving." I grab the platter and head back out, plastering on my best supportive sister smile. That's when I hear it. The conversation that changes everything. Speaking of the wedding, Nora is saying to Mom, her voice dropped to a stage whisper, "I was thinking about Alice's dress." I freeze just outside the doorway. "The one she bought for her wedding?" Mom asks. "It really is beautiful, right? And she's not getting married until next year anyway. My wedding's in 3 months and that dress would be perfect for my garden ceremony. Plus, it's just sitting in her closet." "Well, I'm sure she wouldn't mind," Mom says. "You are her sister after all, and it would look stunning on you." My hands tighten on the platter. The dress I spent months searching for. The one I'd fallen in love with instantly. The one I was saving up to pay for myself because Mom wouldn't help with the costs like she's doing for Nora. "I'll talk to her about it tomorrow," Nora continues. "She'll understand. She always does." I walk into the room, setting down the platter with a little more force than necessary. The crackers jump and a few heads turn. "Everything okay, sweetie?" Dad asks, finally looking at me. I meet Nora's eyes across the room. She has the grace to look slightly guilty, but there's that familiar entitled gleam in her expression. The one that says she knows she'll get her way. She always does. "Everything's fine," I say, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "Just perfect." Samantha, my best friend, catches my eye from across the room. She's known me long enough to read the tension in my shoulders, the tight set of my jaw. She raises an eyebrow in question, and I give her the slightest shake of my head. Not now, because now, watching Nora bask in the adoration of our family, something shifts inside me. Years of being overshadowed, overlooked, and taken for granted crystallize into a single clarifying moment of purpose. My sister wants my wedding dress? Fine. But this time, things won't go the way she expects. This time, I'm done being the understanding one, the practical one, the one who always steps aside. This time, Nora's perfect day is going to be anything but perfect. The next morning, I was folding laundry when the doorbell rang. I already knew who it was. Nora never could wait when she wanted something. "Alice." She breezed past me into my apartment, designer handbag swinging. "I need to talk to you about something important." I kept folding. "Coffee?" "No time. Listen, I've been thinking about your wedding dress." She perched on my couch, all perfect posture and practiced smile. "You know how my wedding's coming up first, right? And that dress would be absolutely perfect for my garden theme. You want my wedding dress?" I set down the towel I was folding, turning to face her fully. "Just to borrow. You're not using it for months anyway." She leaned forward, eyes wide with practiced innocence. "Come on, Ellie. You know how much this means to me." Before I could respond, another knock at the door. Mom, of course. Nora had brought back up. "Girls, I thought I'd find you both here." Mom swept in, carrying a garment bag. "Alice, honey, I picked up your dress from the closet at home. I figured we could do a quick fitting with Nora right now." My throat tightened. They'd already taken it from my childhood home without asking. I watched, frozen as Mom unzipped the bag, revealing the ivory lace I'd fallen in love with. "Mom," I managed, "you went into my room? Don't be dramatic, sweetie. We're family." She held the dress up to Nora, who was already shrugging off her jacket. "Oh, it's perfect. Even better than on you, Alice. The color really suits Nora's complexion." I grabbed my phone, texting Samantha. "SOS, come over now." "I haven't said yes," I said, but they weren't listening. Nora was already stepping into my dress, Mom helping her zip up the back. "Oh my God," Nora gasped, twirling in front of my mirror. "It's like it was made for me." "You look absolutely stunning," Mom gushed. "Alice, isn't your sister beautiful?" I stared at my dress, hugging my sister's frame. The dress I'd worked overtime to afford. The dress I dreamed about wearing while dancing with Nicholas. "Take it off," I said quietly. "What?" Nora turned, frowning. I said, "Take it off. It's my dress. I bought it for my wedding." Mom sighed that familiar disappointed sigh. "Alice, don't be selfish. Your sister needs it first, and you know how important this is to her." "Important to her?" My voice rose. "What about what's important to me? Just once." "You're being ridiculous," Nora said, smoothing the lace over her hips. "It's just a dress. And you know I'll take better care of it." Then the door burst open. Samantha stood there, taking in the scene with narrowed eyes. "What the hell is going on?" "Perfect timing," Nora beamed. "Sam, doesn't this dress look amazing on me?" Samantha walked straight to me, placing herself between me and my family. "Mrs. Ortiz, with all due respect, that dress belongs to Alice. You can't just take it." "We're not taking it," Mom protested. "We're borrowing it for family." "Alice," Samantha turned to me, her voice firm. "What do you want?" I looked at my sister, resplendent in my stolen dress, at my mother ready to defend her golden child, at my best friend, the only one who ever seemed to see me. "Keep it," I said finally. "Alice?" Samantha started. "No, really. Keep it, Nora. You always get what you want anyway. Right? What's one more thing?" "Don't be dramatic." Nora rolled her eyes. "I'll give it back perfect condition." "I'm sure you will." I met her eyes in the mirror. "I hope it brings you exactly what you deserve." Mom clapped her hands. "See? That's the spirit." "Now, Nora, let's talk about alterations." After they left with my dress, Samantha turned to me. "Tell me you're not really okay with this." I walked to my window, watching Nora carefully load my dress into her car. "You know what's funny? For the first time, I actually am okay with it because I finally know exactly what I'm going to do." "That look in your eyes is terrifying," Samantha said. "I love it. What's the plan?" I turned to her, smiling. "How much do you know about garden fountain systems?" "Not much, but I'm willing to learn." She grinned. "Are we about to be evil?" "Not evil," I corrected, pulling out my laptop. "Just karmic." "Did you know Nora chose the same garden venue where she once ruined my Sweet 16? The one with the beautiful central fountain?" "Oh my God," Samantha laughed. "This is going to be good, isn't it?" I started typing, my smile growing wider. "Let's just say, my dress isn't the only thing that's going to look perfect on Nora's big day." "You want me to what?" Nicholas stared at me across our kitchen table, coffee cup frozen halfway to his mouth. "Just keep Ashton busy during the rehearsal dinner," I repeated, sliding him a piece of toast. "Take him for drinks afterward, that's all. While you and Sam do something to the fountain." He set his cup down carefully. "Alice, honey, are you sure about this?" Samantha sprawled on our couch, laptop balanced on her knees. "Got it," she called out. "The maintenance schedule shows they service the fountain every Tuesday. That means it'll be exactly 4 days before the wedding when they do the final check." I squeezed Nicholas's hand. "Trust me, I'm not going to do anything dangerous or illegal. Just karmic." "Like your Sweet 16? He raised an eyebrow. "When Nora accidentally spilled punch all over your dress right before your first dance?" "Exactly like that." I pulled up a chair next to Samantha. "Show me what you found." She turned the laptop toward me. "The fountain runs on a pretty basic system. All we need is access to the control panel in about 15 minutes. And you know how to do this because my cousin's a landscaper." She grinned. "I called in a favor." He explained everything. Pressure valves, timing mechanisms, the works, simple adjustments, nothing permanent. Nicholas came to peer over our shoulders. "So when you say adjustments, just a slight increase in water pressure," I explained, "timed perfectly for the valves when Nora is standing there in my dress right in front of the fountain." "Splash," Samantha finished with a flourish. "You're both insane," Nicholas said, but I could see the corner of his mouth twitching. "And I'm probably going to hell for finding this funny." My phone buzzed. A text from Nora. "Dress fitting tomorrow. Mom says you should come. Show support." "Speaking of hell," I muttered, showing them the message. "Perfect." Samantha sat up straight. "While you're at the fitting, I can scout the venue." The wedding coordinator knows me as your +1 anyway, and I'll take Ashton for lunch, Nicholas added. Keep him distracted. Maybe subtly suggest taking photos by the fountain during the ceremony. I looked at him in surprise. You're in? He pulled me close, kissing my forehead. Babe, I've watched Nora and your parents treat you like a second-class citizen for years. If this is how you need to handle it, I'm with you. Just promise me you won't do anything you can't come back from. Promise. I hugged him tight. It's just water. Expensive dress water. But still just water. The next day, I sat in the bridal boutique watching Nora preen in my dress. She'd already had it taken in. The lace adjusted to hug her curves. It needs more sparkle, Mom declared. Maybe we could add some crystals along the neckline. Mom? No. I started, but Nora was already nodding. Brilliant idea. Nothing too gaudy, just enough to make it pop. Alice, you don't mind. Right? We'll pay for the additions. I thought about the fountain, about perfect timing and karmic justice. Whatever you think is best, Nora. It's your day after all. My phone lit up with a text from Samantha. Venue scouted. You won't believe where they keep the control panel. This is almost too easy. Alice? Mom's voice cut through my thoughts. Are you even paying attention? We're discussing the alterations. Sorry. I smiled sweetly. Just wedding planning stuff of my own? You know, for next year, when I was supposed to wear that dress? A flicker of guilt crossed Nora's face. So brief I almost missed it. Then she was back to her usual self. Oh, please, you can find another dress. This one was meant for me. Look how perfect it is. She twirled in front of the mirror, the ivory lace catching the light. I had to admit, she did look beautiful like a princess in a fairy tale. Too bad about the upcoming plot twist. My phone buzzed again. Samantha, got the timing down. During the vows, you'll need to be standing by the east pillar. That's your cue spot. What are you smiling about? Nora asked, adjusting her veil. Just thinking about your perfect day, I said truthfully. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. Mom beamed, proud of my apparent acceptance. That's the spirit, honey. Family first, right? Right. I agreed, typing back to Samantha. Everything's set. Operation Karma is a go. I watched Nora admire herself in the mirror, remembering every slight, every time she'd taken something that was mine, every moment our parents had chosen her over me. In 3 weeks, she'd have her perfect wedding in her perfect venue, wearing my perfect dress, and for once in our lives, I'd be the one calling the shots. The night before the wedding, our family gathered at Mom and Dad's house for what Mom called a special dinner. I knew what that meant. Another Nora show. Remember Alice's 7th birthday? Nora laughed, swirling her wine. When she tried to blow out my candles? They were my candles, I corrected, stabbing at my salad. It was my birthday party. You just decided you wanted to blow them out too. Did I? Nora frowned. Mom, wasn't that my party? Mom patted Nora's hand. Darling, does it matter? You girls shared everything back then. Shared, I muttered. Nicholas squeezed my knee under the table. Speaking of sharing, Dad said, raising his glass, I want to make a toast to my beautiful daughter on the eve of her wedding. Nora, you've always been our shining star. I set down my fork with a clatter. The room went quiet. Alice? Mom's voice held a warning. No. Please continue, I said. Tell us more about your shining star. Maybe about how she shared my prom date? Or how about when she borrowed my college acceptance letter to show her friends before I even saw it? That's ancient history. Nora waved dismissively. Why are you being so dramatic? Dramatic? I laughed. You're wearing my wedding dress tomorrow. Girls, Dad intervened. Let's not ruin the evening. My phone buzzed. Samantha, everything's set for tomorrow. You sure about this? I looked at my family. Dad avoiding conflict as usual. Mom fawning over Nora and my sister, somehow managing to look both innocent and smug at the same time. I need some air, I announced, pushing back from the table. Nicholas started to rise, but I shook my head. I needed to be alone. In the backyard, I sat on the old swing set, the one where Nora had once pushed me off, breaking my arm. It was an accident, everyone had said. Like everything else. Penny for your thoughts? I turned to see Dad, hands in his pockets looking uncomfortable. Save it for Nora's wedding gift, I said. He sighed, settling onto the swing beside me. You know, when you girls were little, your mother and I thought we were doing the right thing. Nora was so demanding. We figured you were the strong one, the one who could handle getting less attention. And that makes it okay? No, he said quietly. It doesn't. We sat in silence, the chains creaking softly. That dress, he started. Don't. I know you bought it yourself. I saw the receipts, the extra shifts you picked up. He kicked at the dirt. I should have helped. Yeah, I agreed. You should have. My phone lit up again. Samantha sending the final timing details for tomorrow. I thought about the fountain, about revenge, about justice. Dad, I said suddenly, do you remember my sweet 16? He winced. The punch incident? Nora said it was an accident. It wasn't. She told me later she did it because she thought I was getting too much attention. Alice, and tomorrow, she's wearing my dress. The one thing I wanted that was just mine. I stood up. So, tell me, Dad, what would you do? He looked at me for a long moment. Something's going to happen tomorrow, isn't it? I met his gaze steadily. Maybe karma is finally catching up. He nodded slowly, then reached into his wallet and pulled out a check. Here. What's this? For your dress, the one you bought yourself. Whatever happens tomorrow, you deserve to have your own perfect day. I stared at the check, throat tight. Little late, don't you think? Better late than never? He attempted a smile. Just be careful tomorrow, okay? Your mother's heart isn't what it used to be. I tucked the check into my pocket. Don't worry, Dad. Everything will be exactly as it should be. Back inside, Nora was showing Mom her something borrowed, a diamond bracelet from Ashton's mother. The irony made me want to scream. Alice, she called out. There you are. I need you to help me with my final fitting tonight. One last sister moment before the big day. I thought about the fountain, about karma, about Dad's belated attempt at making things right. For a moment, I wavered. Then Nora added, the dress might need a few more adjustments. You don't mind if we make some more changes, right? And just like that, my resolve hardened. Of course not. I smiled. Tomorrow should be absolutely perfect. Nicholas caught my eye across the room, raising an eyebrow in question. I gave him a slight nod. The plan was still on. Tomorrow, karma would make its grand entrance, right on schedule. The garden looked like something out of a fairy tale. White chairs lined the path to the altar, rose petals scattered everywhere, and the fountain, our star player, burbled innocently behind the wedding arch. Everything's ready, Samantha whispered, joining me in the bridal suite. I double-checked the timing. During Till Death Do Us Part, that fountain's going to put on quite a show. I watched Nora twirl in my dress, now adorned with crystals and pearls, she'd added. Mom fussed over her veil while the makeup artist applied final touches. You're being awfully quiet, Alice, Mom noted. Everything okay? Just taking it all in. I smiled, checking my phone. A text from Nicholas. Ashton's in position, convinced him the fountain backdrop would be perfect for photos. Girls, the wedding coordinator poked her head in. We're starting in 15 minutes. Places, please. Nora grabbed my hands, suddenly looking vulnerable. You'll be right behind me. Right? As my maid of honor? For a split second, I saw my sister, the real Nora, not the entitled princess she'd become. I remembered us as kids, building blanket forts, sharing secrets before the competition, before the favoritism, before everything went wrong. Alice? Her voice wavered. Right behind you, I assured her, pushing the memories away. Where else would I be? The music started. I took my place in line, watching as the bridesmaids proceeded one by one. Samantha squeezed my arm as she passed, whispering, East Pillar, don't forget. Then came Nora, radiant in my dress, Mom and Dad on either side. The guests gasped appropriately. I followed, counting steps, watching the fountain spray catching the sunlight. The ceremony began. I barely heard the priest's words, too focused on timing, on watching the water pressure. On the way, my dress caught the light on Nora's frame. The couple has written their own vows, the priest announced. Ashton went first, his words sweet and sincere. I almost felt bad about what was coming. Almost. Then Nora started speaking. Ashton, from the moment we met, I knew you were mine. Just like I've always known what I wanted and always gotten it. I caught Dad's eye from the front row. He gave me a slight nod as if he knew. And I promise to always be the center of your world. My phone vibrated, Samantha's signal. I shifted toward the east pillar until death do us part. The fountain spray pattern changed subtly. A few guests glanced back, noticing the shift in sound. I do. Nora finished beaming. The priest opened his mouth for the final blessing. 321. A massive surge of water shot upward, catching the sunlight like diamonds. For one crystalline moment, it was beautiful. Then gravity took over. The water came down like a miniature monsoon, drenching Nora, Ashton, and the immediate wedding party. My dress, her dress, went from ivory to transparent in seconds. Her perfectly styled hair collapsed. The added crystals caught the water like tiny prisms, creating rainbow effects as she shrieked. My dress, she screamed. The fountain, someone do something. Chaos erupted. Guests jumped up, some running for cover, others trying to help. The wedding coordinator frantically radioed for maintenance. Through it all, I stood dry and safe by my pillar, watching karma unfold. The control panel, someone shouted. Where's the shutoff? This is